Happy Tuesday to everybody out there. It is time for On the Block here on 93.7 The Ticket. I'm Jake Bakoven. He is the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet Eric Strickland, and ready for a nice Tuesday of sports talk with you. Very excited for our 525 guest, Mo Williams. Of course, maybe best known for his all-star appearance and championship days with the Cleveland Cavaliers, but he played for plenty of teams. You ever cross paths with Mo Williams in the league, Strick, as far as a teammate, or were you guys always on the opposite sides?
No, we were teammates in Milwaukee for the 2 years that I was there. So, yeah, we got a chance to play together, and so we stayed in contact in his journey afterwards when he started coaching and wanting to get in, and he started an AAU team and took an affinity to that and just looking to build his brand. Went down there and hanging out with Dion now down in Jackson State.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool campus to be on, I think, with Mo Williams and Dion both out there. It's kind of, like I said earlier, it kind of reminds me of Nebraska's thing they have going on with the former NBA player and a former, at least, champion at the college level in Scott Frost. So it's got some cachet to it. So I can't wait to hear from him, maybe about his playing days, but like you said, also about what he's doing now as he tries to get Jackson State rolling out there in college basketball. So we'll catch up with Mo and try to figure out kind of what he thinks about some of the stuff going on in college basketball and the NBA as well. And that's kind of where I wanted to start here, is kind of this transfer portal and how is Nebraska supposed to attack it or look to attack it this year, because it looks like, and we're still kind of waiting on the, kind of the Derek Walkers and the Trey McGowans of the world to know how many additions Nebraska is going to need from the transfer portal. Basically, they could choose what to do with those scholarships. They could, put them out elsewhere as well for, a young man coming in. But for Hoiberg, he's built his brand around the transfer portal back before it was called the transfer portal. It's just kind of transfers back then at Iowa State, and it worked out wonderfully for his success with the Cyclones. Kind of had the same game plan here, had the same staff put in place. Matt Abdelmassih, his right-hand man in Ames as well in Lincoln. Now they're pivoting, they're turning, they're having to change things up. But do you think that it's going to be less transfer portal in the future, or do you think that that's kind of the brand that they have so far? And does it make more sense these days to get a kid that's already had some experience and is ready to roll?
So that's the thing I've been pondering in my mind. I mean, at this point, Fred Hoiberg has brought 13 non-JUCO transfers, both to Nebraska and Iowa State. And so in his last 2 seasons alone, he's brought in 6 JUCO transfers and even more than he did at Iowa State. So I think, with the JUCO route that he had taken, bringing in Hanif Cheatham and Deshaun Burke and Cam Mack and Jervay Green and the likes of them. And then he had a balance in some instances where he had some freshmen that came in, and like Kevin Cross and Samari Curtis and Charlie Easley. But ultimately, after 1 season, they jump into the portal. So there seems to be some instability. As you can add Teddy Allen to that group. Trey McGowan still uncertain. Kobe Webster obviously coming over, which is on his teams now. Lat Mayen, who was a JUCO player, and then Trevor Lakes, who also jumped in. So you're still having this topsy-turvy aspect that's a part of the culture. So for me, the things that I've been pondering is, if that's going to be your model, if you're going to have that as a model, I think you want to signify what is the way that you're going to go about doing it, right? So what I mean by that is, you've got to figure out, is it going to be about character? Is it going to be about culture? Is it going to be about style of play? And so you really, it just seems to me that it's finding the best talent has been the model, and bringing them here and trying to transition them in to something that has, as you're trying to build, or a previous model that you had once had, and it just hasn't worked. And it's been topsy-turvy. It's been instability in that. And so the question I have, Bach, and I want to throw that at you, is, does losing bring instability, or does instability breed losing? And I think that's a phenomenal question. I think we also should take that on the Sauter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. That's just a wonderful question that's kind of been out there. Does losing breed instability, or does instability breed losing? And so I think it's got to get back to, what do you want to do? What style do you want to play? What types of players, and should they be character guys of the culture that you're trying to build? And I think that's probably a good method in which you can use the transfer portal as a means by which to make it work for you.
Yeah, and it can seriously, I mean, honestly, be pretty cyclical, and we're kind of seeing that as it plays out in front of us. I think that, initially I kind of like to lean toward, losing does breed instability, because, but it's certainly started out with the other way around, right? So I think it's kind of a cyclical thing where, they started by coming in here, clearing out the team, basically keeping Thor around, and that's about it. And so they just didn't have a whole lot to build off the previous staff. And I was talking about this too, is that I think part of the reason why what he took over was so barren, and part of it's because he cleared the roster, but he didn't feel like those guys were, the Brady Hymans, the Mir Harrises, were guys that he was going to be able to build with moving forward. So he kind of cleared that team, but I think the bigger problem was Tim Miles had that year where everybody knew it was make or break for Tim Miles, right? It was kind of coming off the previous year where it was like, he's sliding by with the skin of his teeth now. How is he going to make it the next year? And so I think that hurt recruiting. I pointed out that also kind of happened with Bo Pelini there. So I think when you're on the edge with a coach, and you might see it happen with the Scott Frost team, where you have 1 year left, and maybe it could happen to Hoiberg too, I suppose, where he's up against it as well. It can make recruiting quite difficult, at least for the 4-year players. If you're having, a 1-year guy that knows he's going to play under you, then sure, the transfer portal might be Nebraska's case might be a little bit more suitable or attractive to guys that have 1 or 2 years left, where they think this is going to be my coaching staff moving forward, as opposed to a 4-year guy. People transfer so often these days, not like they'd be limited, and you get the one-time free transfer. So you could still commit to your coach and hope that he sticks around and believe in it, obviously, if you're committing to it. But it would it makes more short-term sense in my mind for the JUCO route, or the transfer portal route, for those guys to go there. And I think that makes sense. It's certainly for Sam Griesel that they just grabbed. He's got 1 year remaining. He knows Nebraska's going to be part of it, but that doesn't help knows Hoiberg's to be part of Nebraska. That doesn't help the long-term continuity for this team.
No.
And it's just been constantly cyclical in that aspect too. And that's where I think that it's going to be key to get the Derek Walkers or the Trey McGowens back. But I don't know how likely I feel that is at this point. One, because you haven't heard anything. Maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. But Derek Walker's just kind of getting older, and could certainly probably make some money overseas. Trey McGowens absolutely could make some money playing basketball somewhere. Maybe not the NBA level, but a step down from that. And his brother made his decision to move on, it just looks like another complete throw together type of team. And again, part of what's kind of stunted this all along is the first team that they threw together, everybody left off that team too, besides the guys like Delano Banton that were sitting out. But you're not having any sort of stability moving from year to year, and I think you're going to see another year of that. And we'll see. I mean, Lat Mayen might decide to stick around, but he's also getting older, and I'm starting to see some of those guys just want to move on with their lives and try to make some money out of it.
Yeah, I think the injury to Trey could make it a better point for him to maybe stick around a little bit and put some more numbers up, and now be a more integral piece to what you had a rocky road type of a season, because you started off really well, then boom, you have a long injury layoff, and then you come back, and as you're starting to finally get back into a rhythm, it's over with. So I think it's possible for him. I could understand Derek Walker in a sense, definitely. The only way, Derek, I would say stay is if you want to improve your money-making opportunity, and that you need to work on stretching the floor. You've got just look at Brady Manek, right? Manek is going to make some money if he continues just the run he's made in the NCAA tournament with North Carolina. That is a phenomenal transfer get, right? Just look at what happened with Kansas, getting Remy Martin, you know what I mean? So it seems to me that there's a method to the madness on certain people. They're bringing in certain fits that fits into the core of what they're trying to do, or their style of play, or the character. And that's what I've seen with Remy Martin. He had a certain type of character, a leadership quality, something that he brought to the table with that. And I think you've got to figure it out and find that, if that's going to be your game of play. So it's going to be an interesting thing to watch, especially with Abdelmassih exiting, because he's been your go-to guy as far as handling the transfer portal, bringing these guys in. I think you've got to start with some foundational things, man. But the problem with that is so much now time has been wasted with COVID, and then, the first season. So really, this is really only his first season being there. And does he have the foundational pieces that is needed and necessary to have a building block? But does he more than that? Does he have the time? And that's the quagmire they find themselves in. They don't really have the time now. And then you've had a couple of wasted seasons in that you haven't been able to secure that foundation.
Well, we talked all along about how Bryce McGowens was the key to, and obviously it didn't seem all the time like he was going to come back, but if you could bring him back, that was going to be, a major plus for team building. With him out of the picture, let's say those guys do move on, which I think is a possibility. Who do you see Nebraska building around? Is it CJ Wilcher, who played kind of that off the bench role as a spark plug? I mean, I would think that he would be the closest as far as your returning players that you would start to build around. I don't know what that says about your team overall, but he was improving. He's got a good shot. He's obviously a piece that you want on this team. It's just hard to imagine him going from this role now to kind of being the guy. And how long do you think that might take for him? Or do you think somebody else would be kind of who they'd be building around?
I think you got to look at Wilcher. I think you got to look at Breidenbach. Hopefully that he can come back and be strong with the injury situation. I think you got to look at Blaise Keita, getting him. You want to try to retain him and continuously build on his game in the same manner you would try to do with Walker. You want to work on creating like a LaMarcus Aldridge type in Blaise Keita, you know what I mean? Where he works really good with his back to the basket. He's got great touch, got a good 15-footer, and to be able to move that out to 18 to 20 and create, hopefully, that's how I would sit down with them and have conversations is, okay, here's where we're at. Here's how we want to use you, but here's where we want to get you to. And so we want to take 2 years. We want to take 2 years to build you to this. And if we see you hit these benchmarks or hit these, KPIs, you know what I mean? Then at that point, then we can look at where do we go from here? Is this something we should do? Are you there to be able to make that next move to the draft? So those are the conversations I'd be having in the locker room or in the office with him, trying to create those types of systems. So you got to look at that with CJ Wilcher. You got to look at that with Breidenbach. You got to look at those. And then bringing in some of the newcomers and creating that solid foundation and building off of.
Yeah, and I'm also kind of just thinking too, because we were talking about the football team there on the Ticket Water Cooler, and just kind of how difficult it is to get excited about the football team despite hearing positive reviews from spring, right? Because we've heard it before under this staff, and it just hasn't equated to wins on the football field, or in a lot of times, progress on the football field here and there in certain categories. Nebraska basketball, I've been thinking all along, especially, kind of the previous question I threw out to you about Bryce McGowens, is that without him, you just don't have a whole lot of hype that's going to be around the program. Even before Bryce, you kind of think of Delano Banton, who everybody kind of thought, okay, it's just a different NBA body. Do they have somebody? Do you think that Blaise Keita or Ramel Lloyd could fill that role of getting, the newcomer that's going to get everybody really rock solid excited? Or do you think it's just going to be hard on behalf of the PR staff until they start winning games? Because it just seems like for Hoiberg, you're at that point where you can tell us this guy's going to be great. And heck, they can be great. They can be NBA level players, but it hasn't turned over to wins yet.
Yeah, I think your expectations got to be centered around the team, right? And the style and the culture you're going to present out front. that was the one thing we talked about all season, and even just prior to the season here on the block, and even in other shows, we've talked about that. What is their identity? I mean, I still think that even at the end of the season, they didn't really solidly have an identity. And I think if you can tailor your messaging around the team and identity and what they're going to present and show that, I think the fans can get behind that, right? But I don't want to target players. I don't want to do that, because you're right. You can have a miss on that, and then all of a sudden, your focus turns to the miss. But if you can set an identity that is one where fans can look to and see, and actually a tangible thing that while they go to the games or while they're sitting and watching on the TV, they have an opportunity to see that actually come together. I think that's something to build off of. I think it's going to be tough, though. I think it's going to be tough. I think they have a ability to do that. But yeah, it's going to be hard to do it by way of individual conversations. I would say the same thing for football. I say I would build an identity. We're either going to run it down your throat, we're going to get back to real Husker power football. And when you see that, you're going to see us hitting off the tackles. You're going to see us, running, on read plays or however, that line is going to be moving people. And that's, if you can see that, and in the football team, we're going to play fast. We're going to play downhill. Anything like that, I think they can create those types of identities where people can then perceive and see. Then it's going to create a little bit of fervor behind it.
And before I want to switch topics real quick before we get to break, it's just that Nebraska and Creighton have a doubleheader today as far as softball and baseball. Softball are already off to a good start in the first inning, up 4-0 on Creighton. Baseball obviously looking to kind of find their way as they head off to Charles Schwab Field out there in Omaha and get the win. Not necessarily breaking down what's going down on the baseball field or the softball diamond there, but more just. I was talking to Nathan, and he's, obviously he's, a Virginia guy and has been in Nebraska for a year. Was kind of surprised that I thought that Creighton was maybe Nebraska's top rival at the moment across all sports. And of course, that's without a football team. And so maybe that's what makes it kind of surprising. But with their move to the Big Ten, with the heat that's been on that rivalry in basketball, do you think that that's their hottest rival? Or would you still say, Iowa has certainly felt like that would probably be the top of the list if they're competing with the current rival at this time? Or do you think, the in-state stuff's enough for Nebraska Creighton to be the biggest rivalry? Does it feel bigger than Nebraska Iowa when they meet up?
I would say so, because they've been winning the battle for many years now. It's been so disappointing for me. It's one of the most frustrating things that I see, because that was one thing I was not going to settle on. That, I've got love for some of those guys. I still, periodically I catch up with DeJuan Cole. I still talk to Latrell Wrightsell. But because those were the guys we played against in the summer. We played in the Eidelman League and the leagues that we played in the summer. And, it was a competition. And so we was like, yo, we're going to beat y'all, Whenever we see you, we trying to beat you, and, that was the one thing we didn't ever want to show up in Omaha, especially me and Badge and Woolridge at the time. We didn't ever want to show up in Omaha and have that, that mark on us that we got beat by Creighton. And I just don't think some of the guys understand that right now. I think that is a rivalry that still exists, must exist, and they beat you and beat the brakes off you on multiple occasions. That needs to change. Until that changes, I think you're seeing it in volleyball now. You're seeing that rivalry even pick up. They play Nebraska pretty tough in volleyball. They definitely in basketball. They, obviously you saw how far they went in the tournament. So they're not a bad team. They're pretty solid. So I think it's a competition outside of football that one can say exists.
And let us know what you guys think there on the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. As Nebraska and Creighton meet up on the baseball diamond, do you feel like that's Nebraska's biggest rivalry? Obviously, it kind of depends on how big of a fan you are of baseball and basketball and all that stuff, because obviously the football being the biggest sport, it's hard to supplant those rivalries. But with Nebraska's move to the Big Ten, it's hard to say. I know they're playing Oklahoma in football this year, but it's hard to say Oklahoma's their top rival now. Right. It's hard to say, Texas or Kansas State are up there, Colorado. So now you've either kind of got to decide on with Iowa or Wisconsin. I think to me it feels like Iowa would be right up there as the top, similar to Creighton, because they've just beaten you down so much and across sports.
Well, the crazy thing is the landscape has changed significantly, right? What made Big 8 sports so dominant and good back in the late 80s and 90s, right? What made it? It was Prop 48.
Yeah.
Prop 48 and the Big 8 is implementation of getting these kids in. And so you were able to get top-notch talent in a unique way. Similar to what the transfers used to be prior to the transfer portal, right? Now you've got to adjust to whatever the methods are in order to be able to compete against some of the best out there. And you don't have that advantage as you used to have. I think that was a significant advantage for us in the Big 8 at that time, is being able to get those Prop 48 type of players in to our system. Now that's not the case. There's a lot of parity out there. And so you've got to create culture and you've got to create identity in which kids get behind and they buy into.
And just for clarity too, I can try to explain at least my understanding, or maybe you can kind of fill in here with my gaps here. Prop 48 was just allowed you to take a few extra players that didn't quite meet university standards, qualify, and then the Big 8 was allowed to do it. That was part of the big problem with Texas joining the Big 12, and why I think that that Oklahoma, as much as they like to say they have a rivalry with Texas, they just follow along with whatever Texas says, because when all those teams kind of came over from the Southwestern Conference, that was the big change, right? That was the big deal. Tom Osborne was voting, let's keep Prop 48, that because that was partially how he was kind of competing and keeping those guys around. But Texas decided, with all the power that they had, that they were going to vote that down. So Nebraska had to adjust in the Big 12. And now I just kind of see the same thing with Oklahoma and Texas now with the move to the SEC. Oklahoma, again, acts like their big rivalries on the field. Off the field, they'll do whatever Texas says. Just follow along, follow the leader.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. I don't know if it's a show me the money type of thing or whatever, because their TV contracts are sick. And as terrible as they are, right? Their TV contract is sick. It's very Notre Dame-ish, so to speak. It's like Texas has that type of play in the game, but hey, teach his own. Power.
I guess it is what it is, and Oklahoma at least recognizes it. I just don't buy that as a huge rivalry. Again, let us know who you think Nebraska's biggest rival is. I think we might be having a phone call. We'll see if that is the case here. So we'll stick around for another second as the producers pick it up there. But let us know what you think Nebraska's biggest rival is now. 402-464-5685. And if the losing has just kind of piled up so much, like I think with Wisconsin, there was a chance for that rivalry to bloom. There was big excitement when they switched from the Legends and Leaders to go over to the Big Ten West. But you can only, kick a team in the teeth so many times and beat them down that it's just like that. It feels like that rivalry. There's still hatred for Wisconsin, but it doesn't feel like you're on the same playing field anymore. Even though, like, individually in these games, they can compete with them. They're just not winning any of those games. I feel like that's definitely hurt the Wisconsin rivalry with Nebraska. Let's go to Drew here on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. Drew, what are you thinking today?
I was just thinking, guys, and Strick's comment about the Prop 48 stuff.
Yeah.
Can we, using NIL, can we go back to that? Like, find guys that are not qualified and then just give them some name, image, and likeness deal, and then, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's guys that are in high school, they don't have quite the grades, they don't qualify, but they come here as a walk-on, and once they walk on, we buy their shirts that they made in craft class, and so they get some money, and then they're sweet awesome at football. Then they get a scholarship after a year of being sweet awesome at football and doing craft class. And then we win again. Can we do that?
What is your name? What is your name again?
Baseball could be unbelievable because we could be like everybody's in craft class making non-fungible tokens, and we're all buying them. And now we have B dudes every which way coming out our ears, and every pitch is everyone's a strikeout on our team. We strike everyone out, and we hit every home run.
What is your name? What is your name again?
Right.
What was his name? Drew. Great point, man. I think we've got to figure out how to navigate the system. I really do. I think we've got to figure out how to use what what Casey Thompson said was, this is significantly more than what the perceived power of Texas even has, that Nebraska has that. And if they're going to allow certain things to be used I'm not going to say abused, but I'm going to say used, we've got to take advantage of that. I really think we should figure out a way to manipulate and use that system to our advantage.
I do think, and again, there's all different types of ways to try to get the NIL money working in your favor if you're Nebraska. I like his idea, I like where he's going. I think it will be hard to cover up academics with NIL money. I think that, you kind of gave a route maybe to kind of start that path. But you still would have to qualify for the school,
right?
So you still have to kind of go around that and take extra classes. NIL would maybe, provide more motivation to get those summer class, paperwork filled out and stuff. But I don't know how you would be able to just basically pay for grades.
Right.
But it's not a bad idea. I don't know how it would be done. So maybe the powers that be.
That's why I said figure out a way to make it. I don't know the method, but there's a way. There's always a system, and there's a way. And there are a lot of people who are taking advantages of the ways that. And the awesome thing I see out there, Bach, is we need to go to a break. I know. The one thing that I do notice is that the top tier coaches they're being shifty. They're very pliable. They're figuring it out, even though they're having to deal with some of the same issues and problems. And it's changing the way that they've normally done business and been successful. But a lot of them are figuring it out.
I do have to ask you this because it's a question I think everybody has on their mind, because it goes back to high school. This isn't just colleges, but it's obviously done in college too. What's the deal with academics at times? Like there's smart guys on the team that take the classes, go everything through it, and then there's just guys that you have to kind of push through it, right? And so is that more everybody just kind of gets a tutor and they get all their times? Is there different like paperwork that gets to be done? Because we know. Or is it just the classes? Are those the people say the athlete classes where, some guys would be able to go there? North Carolina got in so much trouble as having a complete department for it. But is that, I always kind of envisioned there kind of being just this straight up meeting of like, hey, do you want to take athlete classes or do you want to give it a big swing at academics because you've got the smarts for it? Is there like a meeting? Does it come down to it?
Well, you do sit down and meet with people in the academic department. I can just only speak for myself. I don't know how it shifted and changed. But yeah, you sit down and you kind of try to come up with a plan as to what you want to do and how you want to try to do it. And a lot of the times, a lot of young people come in and they have no idea. And I can even say for myself, at first, I think first I was in law enforcement or something like that, in the legalese side of things. But then I shifted. So I can only say that, yes, there's those discussions. And initially, some of those academic advisors will lead you a certain path just to kind of give you a taste. And it's not as strenuous, it's not as hard. Me personally, I was taking 16, 18 hours. I was really getting in and trying to get out. So some of them, you kind of minimize those hours so that it's not strenuous, it's not stress on them. And then let them kind of take some of those easier courses. Then you get them in the summer to kind of minimize the harder courses, because you can't throw a whole semester into a summer. So the summer teachers, it's not as hard. So I took my science and stuff like that in the summertime because it was easier for me to do and to knock that out in a few weeks as opposed to a whole semester. Yeah,
it's just kind of fascinating. I'm sure it's different everywhere with every individual. But
you do get tutors too, though. You do.
Yeah.
You got study hall hours. You get credit for study hall hours and stuff like that.
I don't always like to tell this story because it's not always shining a great light on my alma mater, but I was in a class with a prominent player one time, and he was asked what by one of the other classmates what he's doing for his big, it's like worth like 30% or 20% of the grade. He's like, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing
project
for this or whatever project? He said, I'm not doing that.
Hey, listen.
Okay, well.
Hey, Bach, I'm gonna tell you a little secret, right? There were times, this is old, so it can't come back on me now, but there were times when you can't do this now because they've got systems in place that'll kill this, where I had to write a killer paper and I knew I did, and I was late. I knew I was late. So what we used to do is if we ever found ourselves in that situation, we would call down to our friends at Kansas State or call down to our friends at Kansas or Missouri and say, yo, I got a paper from last semester. I'm going to give it to you. You send me one. And we would exchange papers and we would turn them in. That's how, I mean, that's if you ever got caught late. You can't do that now because they got those plagiarism. You put that stuff in. I was going to some master's courses. You put that stuff in that plagiarism system, that stuff reads everything.
Oh, yeah.
Call you out. There's 90% of your stuff is plagiarized.
You just write like a few simple sentences, and you're like,
"Yo, man, yo, I've seen that before. I've seen that red mark."
It's crazy the way technology's turned, but it also certainly helps. I'm sure too. Like I can't imagine being in like grade or middle school now, where I don't know how much the phones are prevalent, but like back in the day, you'd have to wait to get to the library to look something up. Now, like,
yes. Yo, microfiche, and you had to go read the books, and you had to scan, please, bro.
Now kids can just raise their hand and answer it after they Google search it real quick. So
crazy.
It's kind of crazy. We'll take a quick break here. When we come back here on the block, we'll talk about the NFL overtime rules, which have finally changed. Thank God we'll see both quarterbacks in the postseason. But should it be the same for the regular season? We'll debate that next here on the block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Husker fans, don't miss your chance to get a first look at this year's Nebraska football team at Memorial Stadium. The annual Husker football red and white spring game is set for Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m. Tickets are on sale now for only $10. To secure your tickets today or for more information, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 402-472-3111.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Why do I like Blue Bloods? Here's why. If you're successful over time, that's the true test. And in my lifetime, North Carolina basketball, Kansas basketball, Duke basketball in my lifetime has almost always been good. I mean, all three of them. I mean, it's reliable and they should be good because they put so much energy into it.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. 93.7 The Ticket. Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Cloudy skies this morning will give way to a very rapid rise in temps late this afternoon, topping out near 75. South winds could eventually gust over 25. We'll have a chance of isolated thunderstorms this evening into tonight with a low of 36. And then tomorrow, a chance of rain mixing with snow and only a high of around 40. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Hey, sports fans. Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I've got a, you can see here on the Saturday evening video stream, if you're watching, I got Reese's Pieces. I think probably the most underrated candy. I always forget about Reese's Pieces. And then
So
when I
underrated.
oh, man, those things are
E.T.
delicious.
set it off. E.T. set it off back in the day.
That's right. What did
Yeah.
E.T. say about Reese's Pieces?
Man,
Did
he
point
loves
his
Reese's
finger at it?
Pieces. Yeah, he pointed his fingers at that thing, and it had me. I was done. I was a Reese's Pieces fiend, and I don't even see them in the store no more, boy. I tell you, I miss them
know.
things. I try to get close as I can to eating the cups, the Reese's cups. That's as close as I
Yeah.
get.
I used to like those Reese's cups too, but like I don't know, there's something about maybe getting older, whatever my taste changing, where it's just
Yeah.
like this is a lot of peanut butter. The Reese's Pieces, it's just a tiny amount that you can take, and I don't know. I just think it's for some reason it's forgotten about. I think it's because of what you're saying. I don't see them very often in the
Yeah.
stores. Sometimes and those little like 25-cent machines with all the candy in them. That seems to probably aged out a lot, over the
Yeah.
years. You don't see too
Yeah.
many of those. That's where Reese's Pieces lived.
Yeah, I think too. I used to eat these things back when I was in Alabama when I was a little kid. We used to go to a little corner store and get these things called Chico sticks. Those things were absolutely phenomenal. But they would listen, they would tear your teeth up now because they literally just stick all in your teeth. If you got any type of crowns or anything, they coming out. They coming out.
Oh, yeah, I have seen those things. Yeah. I don't know if I even tried those. They look like cheese to me.
No, man, Chico sticks, they were phenomenal.
They were good, huh? I know that, and I know, by the way, that I've just we need Reese's as a sponsor. Reese's Pieces, not the normal Reese's.
Yeah, tap in, Reese's. We want it.
Yeah, because I know that I'm just sold a bag of Reese's Pieces. I know there's listeners out there going, "Oh yeah, I forgot about Reese's Pieces."
Well,
too."
there is one place we do love is the Mercado. We
That's
love
right.
the Mercado. Mercado takes good care of their meats.
Yeah,
And we love
without
to
a doubt.
eat. we like bread. We like Mercado.
That's all right. That's some of the best food you can get in town.
Certified Piedmontese, right there on
Oh, yeah.
84th and Havelock.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to go out there again. We did a nice live show out there before.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be out there again and can see some more of you guys out there.
Rule changes, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
There's
get
some
to
rule
the
changes.
overtime
Oh.
rule changes here in a second. Someone off the text line says now they have Reese's cups with Reese's Pieces in them. Take my money. I did see that too. That's kind of strange. I don't know if I can combine the two, but I'm sure actually I could. It could be better than a normal Reese's Pieces, I suppose. But I'm just one of those guys that like my food separated. But either way, we'll get to the NFL overtime rule change because that's very interesting. Today they announced. I did want to say this too because this is just happening. About half an hour ago, Adam Schefter reported that Roger Goodell said there's no timetable on a decision for any potential discipline for Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. Said we will seek to get to the bottom of the facts. So you have to remember, I know a lot of people know the kind of the criminal cases have been thrown out and all that, but the NFL still has to do their investigation. And so this Browns thing could get ugly. I know some people are expecting him to basically miss September and October maybe even further into that. And so they signed a pretty good backup just in case that happens, in Jacoby Brissett. And obviously they still have, their Baker Mayfield out there, but he's wanting out. But that's something just to keep an eye on. The NFL,
Jim Tomey and his wife called it out. They upset. They ain't happy about it.
Are they?
The legendary Cleveland Indian player used to bat from the left. He had one of the best stances I used to try to emulate. But
Jim Tomey was awesome.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of Cleveland fans kind of jumping ship, and lifelong ones, because they don't like what the organization is standing for these days, especially with the Deshaun Watson stuff. So we'll kind of have to see how all that plays out. But the good news is, if you some of the best games in the NFL playoffs over the last couple of years just got cut short in overtime, where we didn't see Patrick Mahomes get his chance to get in overtime against Tom Brady a few years ago. We didn't see Josh Allen last year with his opportunity after a miraculous drive to even get him in that position to begin with. Now this year, they're going to change the NFL overtime rules, and it's pretty simple. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate it with how we're trying to fix overtime here and there. It's pretty simple. Both guys are going to get a chance to touch the ball. Each team gets a possession. If it's tied after that, sudden death. And then obviously in the postseason, you can't end in a tie. In the regular season, they're not doing that. And so it will still be, the first team, if they score a touchdown, they will win that game. Do you like that change? Do you, or at least to me, I feel like we've still got to figure out a way to get ties out of the regular season NFL football. There's just too much money involved. And I just feel especially bad for the fans that pay. I mean, it's a pretty good ticket to get into an NFL game to watch for 4 hours and to leave you thinking you've just seen nothing. Nothing's happened. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential to your team's season. I just can't imagine that they're still in the NFL still have ties. Like every other league's figured it out.
So Mike Tomlin, who's a member of the competition committee, basically stated he's not in favor with any changes to the overtime format, right? But here's my thought. I like what you're saying, right? They're gonna keep the regular season way that the overtime is being done. I think you can do a trial system with the season overtime rules and basically make it each person, as you would do with the postseason, each person gets a possession, and after the first possession, whoever scores, well, let me just say this. If each team scores, both those teams have to go for two.
Oh yeah,
I think you should throw that in the regular season, because then I think that'll it'll eliminate a lot of. They must go for two. If it continues, it goes until the clock goes off, and then at a certain point you go to sudden death. I would say with 5 minutes left, you go to sudden death.
Yeah.
Something
I would like that. Yeah, that's a good thought through overtime. It's hard to get there for a lot of people, just to kind of check all the boxes and get people happy with it. I agree with you. And if they're worried about playing too much football, if it gets to the final, I know that people don't like this, but if it gets to the final, like you've played an extra 15 minutes and you just don't want to have the players out there playing more, the NFL, Players Association doesn't. Have a kickoff. Have a 50-yard field goal kickoff. I know that's not traditionally football, but that is how a lot of games end anyway. Do something to figure out a winner, even if it's at the cost.
So you make it like soccer goal. Yeah. All right.
It'd be really entertaining. I
Hey,
don't know.
hey, listen. Your regular kicker gets 2 shots, and then you've got to bring in a backup kicker, which is your punter.
Yeah, throw in somebody else.
Yeah, throw somebody else in there.
If you want the game to still rely on Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, we'll have a kickoff between those guys, and whoever hits the 35-yarder basically wins probably.
Then you make it like a poker game, right? Okay, I see your 35-yarder. I'll match that and go 45.
Hey, if they're hitting 45-yarders, they might actually be the backup kicker at that point in time.
Oh,
so that's good. We're going to take a quick break again here on The Block. When we come back, it's your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Call right now, 402-464-5685. It's time for Shootout with Strick. First one in line gets the opportunity at $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Coming up next here, 402-464-5685. Call right now if you want to get in line to play. And another reminder, Mo Williams set to join us, the former NBA player, now Jackson State head coach, set to join us here in about 40 minutes here is our goal. So call right now, 402-464-5685. Shootout with Strick is next.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it. A research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric ensures our home and office HVAC systems run smoothly throughout the year to provide maximum comfort and convenience. Routine maintenance reduced our operating costs just by improving the efficiency of our unit. Consider a maintenance agreement to ensure you too receive priority for services and scheduling. This helps meet manufacturer warranty requirements. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. Springtime is here, and that means you're outside more in nice weather and maybe even having garage parties with neighbors. The drink of this spring and summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs and 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gums. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Springtime is here, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway. It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game!
It's time for Shootout with Strick. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. All you have to do is win our game show, Shootout with Strick. We'll give you 4 either-or questions and the money ball, which is worth 2 points. And if you have more points total than Strick does through his shootout, then you'll walk away with $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. If Strick happens to win and you lose, don't worry, because you'll still get your opportunity to win, because caller number 3 will take that crown. So today we have Kent on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Kent, have you followed Mo Williams' career? Today our topic is Mo Williams, our guest here at 525.
No, I have not followed it.
Well, that's okay. Again, these are just either or questions, so it will not embarrass you either way, but we'll see if you can kind of get it going. But we'll start with Strick and see how many points you have to get to. And again, if you do happen to lose this one, caller number 3, you could be part of that. So I'll let you know when that happens. But all right, let's start with Strick. Strick, you should probably score pretty well since you know this guy, Mo Williams, a little bit. But we'll give you the trivia and see how it goes. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Mo Williams was born where? Arkansas or Mississippi?
Mississippi.
That's correct. Where did Mo Williams go to college? Auburn or Alabama?
Alabama.
That's correct. Mo Williams was drafted by who? The Jazz or the Bucks?
Jazz.
That's correct. What year was Mo Williams drafted? 2003 or 2004?
3.
That's correct. And Williams played how many seasons in college?
3.
It was actually 2, so you did score 4 points there and got in well before the buzzer, so we can go ahead and shut that down. But 4 points, pretty good, but gives an opening here for Kent to get the win. Kent, are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, we'll go in 3, 2, and 1. What position did Mo Williams play, point guard or shooting guard?
Shooting guard.
It was actually point guard. Who was the last team Mo Williams played with before retiring, Hornets or Cavs?
Hornets.
It's actually the Cavs. Mo Williams is the head coach of what college basketball team, Jackson State or Cal Fullerton?
Cal Fullerton.
It's actually Jackson State. And Mo Williams won an NBA championship with which team, Lakers or Cavs?
10, 9. Cavs.
That is correct. And how many All-Star appearances did Mo Williams have?
5, 4. Oh, boy. 5?
Just one for Mo Williams. So you did.
Why did I get that question?
You did finish with less points than Strick, so you're going to want to hang up, and then caller number 3 will get the opportunity. So, Kent, go ahead. Thanks for playing today. Hang up, and then maybe you can get caller number 3. Hopefully, you will be. But now it is time for that. Caller number 3, 402-464-5685 will win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings on behalf of Strick, who got the win today.
Boom shakalaka!
I better turn that up a little bit so everybody can hear it for you.
Boom shakalaka!
Flawless victory.
And we'll also work on your. We still need to work on
we need
your
that
personalized win there, because I know you're looking for something a little bit different. But either way, very exciting.
We got a dub today.
Yeah,
Yes,
I don't know if that game. Our producer Nate maybe should have made the questions a little bit more difficult for you. You should know a lot about your friend Mo Williams.
I know a little bit.
Yeah,
enough. Let's say that.
So maybe that game was tilted, but either way, you did get the win today, and somebody walks home with chicken on behalf of you. No surprise today. Also wanted to mention Iowa All-American Keegan Murray is projected to be a top 15 pick, has decided to go ahead and enter the 2022 draft. And we'll kind of see. He was ESPN has him at number 5 as far as their ESPN 100 goes for the upcoming draft. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands. After watching the Big Ten season, and he was one of 3 All-Americans, I came away most impressed with him, and I think his game's going to translate well to the NBA. Of those guys, you know, of the Big Ten guys that you watched this past year, other people might say Ivy from Purdue. You could argue Johnny Davis will probably be a top 15 pick. Which one would you pick in the draft if you had the number 5 pick and all those guys were out there?
I would probably say I like Ivy's upside. I love that he can get after you defensively, and I think his quick first step and he's got an expansive game to me. I think if Keegan Murray gets a little more dog in him, he reminds me a little bit more right now of like Jonathan Bender, just a little too just smooth, cool. Yeah, he's poised, but I think he's got upside. If he gets a little bit more dog, I could see him definitely in that. Johnny solid. I just think all around, I like Ivy in what he brings to the table.
Yeah, and you're not alone. He's right up there with Jabari Smith, as people expect to be the top pick of the draft, or right up there, maybe 2 or 3. So we'll see how it goes. We have somebody off the text line yesterday, not respecting. I mean, he was a Purdue fan, so maybe he kind of got frustrated watching him at times. That's Ellis in Illinois. Here he says, yeah, he just joined us. He said, watch every single Purdue game. Ivy is destined for the G League. He does not believe in him, but
dang, that's no Purdue love right there. No Purdue love.
Ellis is not a homer. At least we can say that.
We can say that.
His best prospect in years, he's saying, isn't going to make it. But we'll see kind of how that turns out. It'll be fascinating. The Big Ten, a lot of those guys are going to be moving out the door. We'll see if Kofi Cockburn returns. He actually does have another season of eligibility if he wants it. But I'm expecting
he needs to expand. He's too small. I think he's big body, but there's big bodies all throughout that league that can handle that.
Yeah, I mean, he might get in the league, but he'd only play a few minutes in the game if he does get in the rotation. So we'll kind of see. Hopefully he returns, because he's exciting too. Like one of the most dominant centers we've seen in quite some time. So I'd hate to see him go. I know that maybe there's more money out there in the NBA, but as far as legacy goes, he certainly could carve one out there at Illinois. But Brad Underwood's going to need him too eventually to get into the Sweet 16. They can't do it despite having one of the better teams that they've had each of the last 2 seasons since like Deron Williams and all those guys back in the day. So we'll kind of see how that turns out. But just some news update there for the Big Ten and kind of which way things are going there. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, again, Mo Williams will be at 5:25. But first, before that, we will talk some more sports talk. Interesting things kind of going on around the league or around sports altogether. Shaq's son actually is entering the transfer portal to leave LSU. So maybe we'll dive in a little bit. That we started talking some big men. Maybe we'll continue that conversation coming up next here on The Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Winter is upon us. Is your home prepared? If your furnace isn't keeping up or you've thought about replacing it, John Henry's has a new year, new unit special. When you purchase a select heating and cooling system from John Henry's, we will give you the furnace for free. There are also equipment and LES rebates up to an additional $850. This offer expires February 28th, so don't miss out. Find out more at jhlincoln.com or give John Henry's a call or text today.
435-5555.
What does better service mean? At Allo, it means that you get the best fiber internet available at prices that work for you. Better service means installers who show up on time. Better service means no billing shenanigans. Better service means a real person answers the phone. If you're not paying for better service, what are you paying for? Get Allo. Get better service. Switch today at allofiber.com/better service.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Adversity introduces a man or a woman to themselves. It's easy to say, oh, have a great day when things are good. But when life happens, as we all know, adversity hits, that's when we find out who we are. It's okay to be not okay.
And sometimes we can't see the help that's there because of whatever issue.
There's athletes that are talking about mental health and just well-being and burnout right now, because in the past 2 years, if COVID has showed us anything, it showed us the importance for connection.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Ortega connoisseur, Jake Bakoven.
I like Ortega and I like Pepper.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach.
Hold up.
Welcome back to the second hour of On the Block. I'm E. Strick, Eric Strickland, and that is my partner, Jake Bakoven. We thank you for joining us on the block. You can also text us at any time if you hear something, think about something, or you think we crazy or Looney Tunes, and you want to let us know about it at the Sutter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. Once again, we've been talking a lot about different types of sports. We touched on the Nebraska basketball. Is Creighton the rivalry, or should we be looking at a Big Ten, another school in the Big Ten? We've been talking about a lot of things on the block, but right now, E. Strick is a man of the people, wants some chicken for some folks.
That's right.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about Shareef O'Neal, the legendary Shaq, Superman O'Neal. His son is now finding his way into the transfer portal. Once after leaving UCLA, he did have a condition that kind of has hindered some of his ability to play ball earlier in his career. Found himself at LSU for a short stint. And now, after some troubles basically with LSU, they're having a lot of, what is it called, Bach, where they have, violations. Yeah, that part. See, Nebraska is one of the cleanest programs in the nation, so I'm not used to hearing violations. So
that's right.
Therefore, that's other schools' problem. That's not a problem at University of Nebraska. So, with some of the troubles that the coaching staff obviously has had down there. Sharif finds himself jumping back into the portal. He's a 6'10", 220. I think he's a little slim. He didn't get his dad's big, bulky body. He got his dad's height, but he didn't, especially, with his mom not being so tall. He got all of dad on that. But at the end of the day, he's only averaging about 3 points a game, a couple of rebounds at that size. He shoots 50%. He's just not – he hasn't been on teams for me that have really saw him as a value, so to speak. So with that in mind, do you think a Sharif O'Neal type would be a good get, somebody to go out there and get, or should University of Nebraska look elsewhere in trying to find a rebounder, a beast type of player? Or do you think Nebraska could bring out the type of beast in that's obviously there from his daddy, but we just haven't seen it yet? But could he bring it out at a place like Nebraska? Could we use another big guy like that with some versatility and skill, or do we look elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that there would be an opportunity there to kind of replace Ed Andre basically in the system as far as, kind of the big project, big, for what it's worth. I know his stats don't jump out to you, but they're kind of similar to what Eduardo Andre had here at Nebraska. Not always dominating a game, only averaging, 3 points, 2 rebounds a game. I'd have to see where Eduardo Andres were, but it was kind of close to that. But he would, he'd give you good minutes. And I think that's what Nebraska is going to need out of the rotational bigs. Obviously, the other part of it is he would bring publicity. You have Shaq over there still on Inside the NBA, as well as owning parts of just about every company, it seems like, that's out there.
We definitely would have Papa John's Pizza in PGA. Yeah.
So that might help a little bit. But I do think, I think that would be worth a shot. I know. And again, with those limited numbers, keep in mind, UCLA, a Final Four team when he was on that team, LSU, a 6th seed this past year. So it's not that he's not getting minutes and, on a team that I guess correlating to Nebraska, that is a little bit better. So he might be better suited for a step down. I don't know how much of a step down he's going to want, how much playing time he's going to want, but I could see him getting some minutes here. And Nebraska certainly is in need for, like you said, a rebounder. Even, Andre, as a developmental guy, just his height, kind of affected the way and was one of Nebraska's best rebounder just based on his natural gift of being born and being able to grow as tall as he did. I think that Sharif would be certainly at the least very much in that category as well. So, I don't know if it'd be at the top of my list of transfer portal guys to go after, but certainly would be interesting. And then again, I think that some people may not like it so much just because of the fact that Nebraska's had hit and miss results on those type of players in the past, at least on the football team. You think of Keyshawn Johnson Jr., Cade Warner. There's a few different guys that they kind of think of in the past. And I don't know what you kind of think. I mean, Cade Warner was a captain here, so as for a walk-on, that's pretty good. But in any case, I just think sometimes people feel like that the rub that you're getting with having a celebrity dad or something, the expectation kind of comes down on them. And certainly you wouldn't be expecting anything close to resembling Shaq if you got Sharif O'Neal, but you might see Shaq at a game or two, which again could bring some good publicity for you.
Yeah, that is the one thing that you would see. And I definitely like some Papa John's pizza. And so, I would love to see that popping up along with my little Runza when I go to the games here.
There you go.
That would be something. Yeah, the have big, come in, I do have a big story, right? So I'll tell you a quick big story. We call him Big. So Big was, we were playing them, and he was still with LA at the time, and he was literally just getting the ball in the post, and he was just boom shakalaka. He was just doing that on Sean Bradley like at every turn. It was just raw, boom. It was raw, boom. He just was doing whatever he wanted to Shaq. And I'm sitting over there like with my little, Chihuahua self. I mean, at that time, I'm a bulldog if I'm not next to Big, but I'm a little Chihuahua next to Big. So I'm on the bench doing that. I'm talking to Don Nelson, and I'm telling Don, I got really pissed off. I said, "Effing put me on him," because I was like just mad that he was just doing Sean any kind of way. And I didn't think Don Nelson was gonna do it, but he said, "Get in there, Street, go get him."
Oh man.
And so I literally for about 5 minutes covered Shaq. So just imagine this is how crazy Don Nelson was. Just imagine Shaq catching the ball, right? And so remember back then you could be physical. So I'm leveraging Shaq up like I'm really low in his legs. I'm leveraging him up. He looks back at me like with that face, you know the face Shaq gives you, right?
Oh yeah.
And he goes to do the raw, and Strick steps in, takes the big charge. I got two of them. He goes to the bench.
Oh, nice. So successful. You never go back to that?
Didn't get dunked on me. I left Big alone after that because that's a lot of weight. It took me about 5 minutes to recover with taking that.
Yeah, you don't want to take too many charges from Shaq, I don't think.
Man.
Did you
Definitely
play
on the run?
Yeah. Did you play? I'm trying to think of your time in the league. Did you play like early athletic Shaq as well, like Magic Shaq? What was the difference between?
Yeah, I got Shaq when he was in Orlando too. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. What was the difference kind of in just preparing for that sort of Shaq compared to? I don't know if everybody recognized this if they didn't watch Shaq at the time. A lot of people will say you can argue who's the best player in the game, and Shaq doesn't come up. He's a top 10. But when you talk about peak, like early 2000 Shaq might have been the most dominant player of all time.
There's no question.
So
they changed the rules, Bach. They had to change the rules,
did.
bro, because it was. That's when you had Hack-a-Shaq. Hack-a-Shaq. That became a basic theme of how to stop the Lakers. There was two ways you could only really stop the Lakers with that Shaq dominant team. You Hack-a-Shaq them, or you say let Shaq do his thing, get Kobe frustrated, and let Kobe start taking bad shots so that you have a chance to win the game. That was really that was the strategy. That was the strategy, man. You had to let one of them get busy or let Kobe go nuts and just triple team Shaq and let Kobe go nuts. You had to let one of them get busy.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And as long as we're on the topic too, when they had their you think of Shaq and Kobe, and obviously they were very dominant, very tough to defend. But what was their kind of peak team that you would think of as far as their third best player? Was it when they had Glenn Rice? Was it Horace Grant? Was it Karl Malone and Gary Payton? Which teams did you feel like was just that was the most difficult to guard other than game planning for Shaq and Kobe?
Actually, I would say it was Horace Grant, not Horace Grant, but it was Robert Horry.
Oh, okay, yeah, watch out for
Robert Horry. Yeah, Robert Horry. He made it tough because he could stretch the floor and he was very athletic. And listen, that Gasol and Lamar Odom team was tough. They were tough. They were tough, bro. That Lamar Odom team with him, because his versatility was just sick and crazy. And then Derek Fisher was just a little gnat. So yeah, they were tough, bro.
Rick Fox was always there. Did you play against Bynum when he was pretty good?
Yeah, Bynum was there.
Yeah, he was a beast a while too. They had some bigs. They definitely had some bigs.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Yeah. Let's also jump into this because I wanted to ask about this because we've seen Dick Vitale, legendary voice. I don't think that they're going to give another opportunity. He's beat cancer, and obviously he's the voice of college basketball. For anybody that's watched it over the years, I always love his diaper dandy bit. Kind of talking about the young players.
He's a diaper dandy, baby.
And it's just how excitable he'd be at those games. You've mentioned before he's done a few of your games too.
We did ours,
I just really would love to see him. I just can't believe this when I heard it, is that he's never done a Final Four games just because the contracts always run through CBS. He's over there with ABC and ESPN and stuff. But there's a few guys that are so iconic that I hope that someday we get to the point, maybe it's this year, and it would be so special with Coach K because his timeline just kind of goes around with Coach K as well. Is I hope that they at least let him do a segment. I know the contracts aren't there and you're promoting other brands and all that stuff, but there's some guys like icons that rise above it. And it's hard to be an icon, when you don't play the game of basketball, right? But he's one of the few guys that without too much physical talent, and I don't know, he might have played back in the day. I really haven't done that much. That's well before my time. But I really hope to see him call a Final Four eventually because it would just sound so natural and so nice, and he's definitely deserved it.
Yeah, I would say it would a farewell tour, and to even if you don't run him, you save him and just let him do some of the tournaments or a couple of the tournaments, whether it be the ACC or it'd be the Big Ten or one of those in prep, and then let him run it out, man, and just have a good go and go out in style. And that's a question I have for you guys here on the block is who is another voice that can be raised up to be able to be that kind of iconic voice, not in the past, but I'm saying in this upcoming future. Who is somebody that you think could even measure up and even fill the void that is going to be left by the iconic Dick Vitale? Text us at the Starter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you about who is the next one up when Dick Vitale decides to put him down, put the mic down, not the laces, put the mic down. So we would love to hear from you on that. We did kind of go a little bit long on a few segments, so we're going to have to go to a break now, kind of catch up, pay some bills. We'll come back and we'll have Mo when we get back after this.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurance.com.
Hi, welcome to Big Chain Bar and Grill. Can I get you a drink? Which game were you hoping to see? Doesn't matter. The game's on anyway. Are you ready to order? Okay, here's a check. Come back and see us again, okay?
What?
Hey, welcome back into Upside.
Slow down and enjoy the game at the Upside Bar and Lounge. Comfortable seating, plenty of screens, a great food and drink menu, and no one's flying.
Yo, let's have a backup plan just in case, because he did say he had some recruits in town. So just in case something happened, we'll have a
hiring and seeking motivated applicants.
Things went wrong with the recruits because he did say he had some recruits in town, but he was able to jump on. But yeah, if I try to call him, if I can't reach him, then we'll throw something out there. Let's do another segment, and then maybe if we need to, we can go long.
So there's something for everybody. View and apply for the job openings today at GrayUSA.com. Visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray Difference.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's
Your
even
call
worse
has
if the
been
problem
forwarded to an
isn't
automated
fixed
voice
correctly.
messaging system.
Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And things have obviously been pretty challenging lately with new vehicles, with all the microchip and supply chain issues, but things continue to loosen up as Koppel gets more and more new vehicles.
Big Mo, what's up, man? I just was.
That many customers.
You caught up? Are you good? Or you tied
don't
up?
See what you want in our current inventory. We can put an order in to get exactly what you
No,
want.
it's a link, but I can send you the call in. So if you're driving that way, you can just do it on the
Husker fans, don't miss your chance to get a first look at this year's Nebraska
we do it live, but it's all
Memorial
good.
Stadium.
You know,
The annual
we
Husker
do it both
Football
ways.
Red and White Spring Game is set for Saturday, April 9th at 1 p.m. Tickets are on sale
We're
now
going to be
for
coming
only
off in about
$10.
another
To
3
secure your
minutes.
tickets today,
We'll be
or
coming
for
off.
more information, visit huskers.com/tickets or call
All right, bet. I'll send it right to you.
402-472-3111.
These days, there are more reasons than ever to treat yourself to a great haircut at Grey Clips with the online check-in app. So tell us, why do you check in?
I check in because I'm tired of hat hair. I check in because we all need a cut.
I check in so I can feel like me.
And I check in so I look good for you.
No matter why you check in, you'll check out with a great haircut and save time with our online check-in app. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Adversity introduces a man or a woman to themselves. It's easy to say, oh, have a great day, and when things are good. But when life happens, as we all know, adversity hits, that's when we find out who we are. It's okay to be not okay.
Sometimes we can't see the help that's there because of whatever issue.
There's athletes that are talking about mental health and just well-being and burnout right now because in the past 2 years, if COVID has showed us anything, it showed us the importance for connection.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Southeast Community College has learning centers in Falls City, Hebron, Nebraska City, Plattsmouth, Wahoo, and York so that you can take credit and non-credit classes at a center nearby without having to travel an hour or more to campus. By taking online classes and those at a learning center, you can earn your degree from SCC where and when it's convenient for you, all at a cost that won't stand in the way of your education. Learn more about SCC's learning centers at southeast.edu/learning centers. SCC, your path to prosperity.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach.
No, I left them to themselves. I didn't run around. I allowed them to just walk it. Oh, I got to get off. I got to go. I'll hit you back. I'll hit you back. Welcome back on the block. E. Strick here, my partner Jake Bakoven on the block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket FM, theticketfm.com. Joining us on the Sutter Heyman text line, on the Honda Lincoln hotline is my man and the new Jackson State University head coach, Mo Diddley, Mo Dub, Mo Love Williams is joining us on the block. Mo Williams, what's happening, man? Are you there?
Man, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Mo, I appreciate you jumping on, man. I know it's kind of hectic. You in the high season.
Hey, hold up. That was a hell of an introduction, man. I appreciate it, my brother.
Mo, man, listen, man, you had a stellar career, man. 13 seasons in the NBA. I had the great opportunity to play with you for two of mine right before I closed out my last days there in Milwaukee, man. And I got to watch you as a young man just continue to grow and get better, ultimately leading you to be an all-star in 2009 and also to get you a ship, which is a phenomenal feat, man, being there with LeBron James and that crew. So, with your career, man, and what you're doing now, what was it, bro, that led you back home to where you came from, where you was born, where you was raised, and ultimately you went on to play in Alabama? Listen, I'm a War Eagle. I was born in Auburn, so I ain't too much Alabama time, but the Tide. But nonetheless, I still love Alabama. You went over to Alabama, did your thing, led your team to the SEC regular season championship, and then you finish your career. You're teaching young players, man. You have your own team. You were raising them up in the AAU. What kind of led you after you were tired of the game, you was done with the game, to get in and to lead in the next generation of young men to fulfill their dreams?
Well, when you look at former athletes and athletes in general, we play the game. We put so much into the game, in the craft, that we're trying to just get better and better at our craft every single day. And we lose sight on what we want to do after basketball. But one thing I did was I knew what I wanted to do after basketball. I didn't retire. I didn't stop playing until 2016, but I started my youth program in 2008. Mm-hmm. And I started in Dallas. I went and bought a gym, had a gym, one of the only players that really had a gym. And, I started to bring those youth guys in and started a program, and I had over 100 kids in my program in less than a year. And 7 of those kids is playing in the NBA today, and a boatload of those kids are playing collegiately right now. And doing that, just kind of started to broaden my palette a little bit and, You know, I wanted to kind of go further with it. Didn't know if I wanted to do college. Didn't know if I wanted to go to the NBA and get on that way. But my thing was what made me choose college, because I was in the youth world in high school, all the way down to elementary, but talking about high school, and I noticed, you know, a lot of those guys, talented guys that came through my program that went to college, they just didn't, things didn't materialize, you know, kind of how they planned or didn't project on what their potential was.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to get in a space where I can touch those kids before they become adults. Because when you leave college, you in real life, you know, and at the end of the day, I always ask my kids when they struggling or they stressing or they going through this thing in college and things like that, I always ask them one thing: how many bills you paying? And they always answer none. I say, hey man, there ain't much stress about, because real life gonna hit you. You're gonna have enough things to stress about. And college is the breaking point of where a kid can go left or right.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's definitely something I love to do as far as coaching. But the most important part is the development of life skills that we've learned, you know, through the course of basketball. Basketball has taught me everything that I know as far as living life, you know, being disciplined, right? Accountability, right?
Yeah.
All those things, and borderlines, you know, who you are as a man, and your character is your most important thing, you know, what you do on an everyday basis. And one thing I tell them all the time is, you know, and this is my mantra, is, you know, the most important thing always has to be the most important thing. And that goes to say, hey, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And if it's something you want to be, hey, coach, 10 times out of 10, you ask a kid, what do you want to do? Coach, I want to be a pro. And they don't know how hard that is.
Right.
They don't know how impossible that is.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know what you have to do and what it takes to
get there. Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, if that's the most important thing to you, it has to always be the most important thing. The most important thing has to be the most important thing. So when you live in a college life, you're talking about college kids, when you ride in the car with guys that have drugs or weapon, or you're going to parties and you have young ladies around you, and you're in a situation where, you know, something can materialize in a way that can mess your whole career up. Those situations is, guess what? If being a most important thing to you, those things right there should never happen, because nothing shouldn't affect the bottom line.
Come on.
Everything you do,
That's
you know,
right.
everywhere you walk, and that's every day. The most important thing always has to be the most important thing, and that's how I came up. I wanted to be a professional athlete. I knew what I wanted to do, and nothing was going to deter me from that. Drugs wasn't going to deter me from that.
That's
Alcohol
good.
wasn't going to deter me from that. You know, getting into a situation of a domestic violence situation that slanders my character, that's not going to stop what I'm trying to do, because the most important thing to me was being a professional athlete and changing my life and my family life, because I knew I had a gift to do that, and I wasn't going to do anything to send me to the left. You know, so for me, being in the position that I am and being a role model to these guys, I still walk that same line, because I want to show them how to be a professional, how a professional talk, how a professional moves, right? Understanding after basketball, right? You're going to be in a position where, guess what? If you have the mindset to be a champion, and that's what, and I always talk about championship mindset. And a championship mindset doesn't go with, I just want to win a championship. No, championship mindset is all the little.
It's a lifestyle.
If you have a championship mindset, I don't have to worry about you going to class. I don't have to worry about you going to study hall. I don't worry about you. I don't have to worry about you diving on the floor for a loose ball. I don't have to worry about you taking the charge. I don't have to worry about those things, because you have a championship mindset. So the most important thing is getting these guys to understand what's most important.
Listen. If I had eligibility, I'd be on my way down to Jackson State right now, where I heard that. That's the type of information I want to hear when you're sitting in my living room talking to my dad. Go ahead, Bach. Bach got a question for you.
Yeah, this is Mo Williams is here with us, the Jackson State head coach, former NBA All-Star and NBA champion. I did want to ask you about your move as you get involved in coaching now. It seems like you're doing it from your home, right? I mean, you went back to Alabama State, now making this move to Jackson State, your hometown. What kind of played into that decision as you just kind of had things starting to brew over there at Alabama State?
Well, absolutely. I had a good thing going at Alabama State. I had everybody coming back, and we was poised to be preseason in the league. But I'm from Jackson State. My dad went to Jackson State. My mom went to Jackson State. My parents met at Jackson State.
Wow.
My mom graduated in 81 from Jackson State. I was born in 82. My little brother graduated from Jackson State. I've been going to Jackson State sports events since I've been a little kid. So that Jackson State has always been in my blood. Even when I was a professional athlete, I've always donated and did things for Jackson State. Strict no, I had a gym in Dallas. When I got into college coaching, when I moved to LA, I sent all my gym, my goal, my floor, all that to Jackson State. And I was going to another school. So I've always supported Jackson State. And it's home, right? And when I was at Alabama State and the coach, Wayne Brent, that was the head coach that just recently retired, it was came about. It was nothing in the works, wasn't nothing planned, and it just happened. And God just always has a plan. And when it came about, and the opportunity was there, it was a no-brainer. And the athletic director here is one of my really good friends, Ashley Robinson, has done a great job. We actually played high school ball. We was high school teammates. So just the family environment, just being home with the support. It was a no-brainer.
Listen, Mo, I love what you're doing, man. You're going to get a chance to work with, in the same atmosphere y'all are doing and raising the bar at HBCUs right now. But let's go back to your career, man, because you got drafted in the second round. I'm sure that was a disappointment for you because of what absolutely. And so you find yourself with the Utah Jazz. You found yourself in a system that is very systematic with the way that they handle their business. They approach the game in such a systematic way. And how did you feel your mentality changed from just saying I'm here to I'm going to be an all-star? What did that look like, and how did your focus shift from just being there and your motivations to becoming ultimately an all-star?
Well, I always had that mentality, right? I always had a chip on my shoulder, and it just grew on draft night. I was projected to be a top 15 pick. We all know about the mock drafts beforehand. I was a top 15 pick. I came out after my sophomore year. So nothing can tell me I wasn't going in the first round. And it's funny how it happened, because I worked out for 17 teams, coming out the draft. And Utah wasn't one of those teams.
Wow.
And out of the 17 teams I worked out for, none of those teams drafted me, and Utah drafted. So I was going to just foreign land. Never been to Utah, never been that far from Mississippi. Just going to a place where I just knew nothing about. And in hindsight, that was the best place in the world I could have went. Their systematic program, and Jerry Sloan, rest in peace, he was there at the time. Phil Johnson was there at the time. And those guys ran it like a college program.
Uh-huh.
And for me to go from a college program running, it was just a blessing, because Strick, they run that UCLA guard cut type offense.
Yep. Systematic.
The same exact offense I ran in college, so I just fit in right away. And I came in on the depth chart. I was the third point guard. They had Carlos Arroyo at the time, and the year before they drafted me, they drafted Rayo Lopez. So those were stars. And Jerry just took a liking to me and loved me and just gave me opportunities. And I would say freshman, but my rookie year, I played in 57 games.
Yeah.
I averaged 6-7 points. And that led to the opportunity to go to Milwaukee, where I played with you, and my second year. And fortunately for myself, and unfortunately for my good friend TJ Ford, he had the spinal
injury. Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to start my second year out of college. I started every single game and ended up averaging 10.6 assists and just kind of get my feet wet. Now I'm competing against all the starting guards in the league. That was my moment when I said, guess what? Man, I can really play
do this. Mm-hmm.
So that summer, I started to just build and work and get better, knowing the ball was going to be in my hands and things like that. And it just kind of took off from there. Every year I got better. The next year I averaged 13. The next year I averaged 17. And all of a sudden, 2 years later, I was an all-star.
And let's transition into that, because obviously a lot of what you're known for, at least for some of the younger viewers out there, is your time with LeBron and in Cleveland, where you guys made the title run and you had that all-star appearance. What was it like? I mean, the pressure had to kind of creep up on you, because there's certain, obviously you're kind of making your name and making your way at other places, but once you got to Cleveland, you were like
Batman or Robin.
Yeah, you were Robin to Batman, which was expected to be the greatest of all time. So, I mean, a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes on you in that scenario. Were you prepared for that right when you got to Cleveland, or did it take some time to kind of adjust to it?
The stats would say I was, but I wasn't mature enough and I wasn't ready, right? I look back on that as I got older, as I started to play more years, got to my 19th year. When I started hitting my prime, like 8 year, when I got there, I was really good. I was still young and I was still learning and I was still developing. And I still had, good seasons. But at the time when I got to Cleveland, I really should have been that third type option for us to be a championship team. We was really good. Don't get me wrong. We had the best record in the league, but when we got to the playoff, I just didn't show up. I had the stats when you go look at it, but at the same time, when you know the game, you know that I could have did more when I go back and look at it. So I'm hard on myself. But to answer your question, I wish I could have that time back, right? I wish I could go back and just do that over because I felt like I could have been better from the experience I gained, after that. And it was a blessing for me to go back in 2016 and win a championship with those guys. And going back to, fast forward to 2016, going back where I was mature. I'm in my 13th year in the league, and people don't remember Kyrie missed the whole first half of the season that year we won the championship. And I started every game and averaging probably about 14, 15, 6, 7 assists, and had the opportunity in the finals to have a part in winning that. But just the maturation of a player, and Strick, you know what I mean, just the older you get, you understand that it just slows down
for you
to a point where you just effective in a way. It ain't about the stats at that point. It's just about the IQ of the game, knowing what to do and where to go, what spots to be at, just taking your time. And just my first go around in Cleveland, I would just all go. Just the preparation, just the training, the strength and conditioning, how I'm eating, all those things changed after that. I was just kind of a few years, too late. And Bron had already left and went to Miami and started winning some championships.
I also want to point this out too, because I know you're in your coaching days and we're talking about your playing days here. You're just 39, and you were very adept at one-on-one. Could you still probably beat a lot of your Jackson State players one-on-one? I think you still got the ball in.
You give them that work.
Well, first of all, you said a lot. I can beat all of them. No, I still got it. I'm not playing 5-on-5 with them, but when you want to shoot and want to play, some one, I'm not losing that.
Man, listen, Mo, I thank you for your time, man. We're looking forward to seeing and also checking back in with you, man, as we get into the, maybe in the summer or into the next season, just to see how things are progressing with you down there, man. and we want you to be successful. Thank you for joining us on the block, man, and taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know you got some recruits in town as well, and we really appreciate you, man.
All right. Well, before I go, Strick, I don't know if they talking about you on there, but y'all don't know Strick. Hey, listen, that's a bad boy on this on this line with me now. I'm just giving you your flowers right now, big dog.
I love you, man. I appreciate you, man, from my heart. And I'll stay in touch with you, man, and just check in with you. I maybe try to get down there and check a game out, man. I'll shoot you a text and let you know I'm on my way to Mississippi, my boy.
Appreciate it, man. You guys have a good one, man.
All right. That's Mo Williams, Mo Dub, Mo Love. He joined us on the block. We got to take a break. We'll come back with Hitting Hardwood with Strick when we get back after this on the block.
Fruitcakes are just for Christmas, right? Gosh, I feel sorry for you. I mean, what if we had done that with bacon? Bacon is only for breakfast. We'd never have bacon cheeseburgers. We'd never be able to save a salad by adding bacon bits. We'd never have Brinner. That's breakfast for dinner. Don't limit yourself. Fruitcakes for St. Patrick's Day. Fruitcakes for graduation. Fruitcakes for Thursday. Beatrice Bakery and Grandma's Fruitcakes are perfect for every occasion. Check them out in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Allo knows businesses need reliable communication, both at the office and at home. Now more than ever. Just listen to Bill Mitchner from Lighthouse.
Before we'd have breaks in service, especially for internet, but we've never had any issues with Allo. So we've been there and available when we needed it.
At Allo, supporting your business is our business. To get your free quote and switch today, visit allofiber.com/workfast or call 402-480-6685 today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Cloudy skies this morning will give way to a very rapid rise in temps late this afternoon, topping out near 75. South winds could eventually gust over 25. We'll have a chance of isolated thunderstorms this evening into tonight with a low of 36. And then tomorrow, a chance of rain mixing with snow and only a high of around 40. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat with a simplified buying process, at-home test drives, hassle-free delivery, and service pickup and return. Check out all our new vehicle specials now during the Jeep Celebration event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Find great deals now on new Rams, Jeeps, and more during Ram Truck Month and the Jeep Celebration event at Baxter Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop our entire inventory of new and certified pre-owned vehicles anytime. At Baxter, we put you in the driver's seat.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our communities safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts. More celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with a taste that brings you back.
Southeast Community College is training tomorrow's workforce today with our nearly 60 career and technical programs. We are doing our part to help employers fill vacancies during this current labor shortage, graduating students with skill sets employers are seeking. We're also helping to upskill the workforce by adding short-term credentials like certificates in many programs so that employees can get retraining quickly. Learn more about upskilling with SCC at southeast.edu/academics. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And things have obviously been pretty challenging lately with new vehicles, with all the microchip and supply chain issues, but things continue to loosen up as Koppel gets more and more new vehicles in each and every week. We've had many customers also custom order their vehicles. So if you don't see what you want in our current inventory, we can put an order in to get exactly what you want. So go online, reserve your new vehicle at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now they've raised wages again and they're hiring for production operators at $22.07 per hour and other select jobs starting at $23.77 per hour, with wages growing up to $29.71 per hour. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates. To learn more or to apply, go to continental-jobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the block, and we're actually going to have to punt our NBA segment, which we usually do hitting the hardwood. We'll still hit the hardwood, just won't be NBA because we have big news here in Lincoln, Nebraska. We've been waiting to hear from a few of the guys that have decisions to make for the basketball team and the program, and Derek Walker and his 68% shooting percentage is coming back to Nebraska. Should make a pretty formidable duo there with Blaze Keita, Heinrich Harburg down low. So absolutely huge news. We do want to give one final shout out to Mo Williams for joining us. Of course, a longtime NBA vet, all-star champion, now coach at Jackson State, and Nick Higgins chiming in here on YouTube. Great interview, and the man was absolutely nasty with the ball. Loved watching him play and look forward to seeing him coach at Jackson State. So we love you guys chiming in on YouTube, Facebook.
Hey, Bob, you heard what he said, though. See, a lot of people out there, y'all don't know. Stricky was out. Hey, listen, Stricky give people some work.
That's
my
right.
man Mo Williams told you now he had to deal with Stricky in practice every day. So, Stricky.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, I would have loved to watch those Bucks practices one-on-one between you and Mo Williams. I'm sure those got pretty feisty. I'm sure when you had the ball against him, too, you could do some things, but particularly when you were on defense and he was on offense, that would be fun.
I couldn't let him get into his bag. I couldn't let him get into his bag because Mo give you a bucket and give you an eyeball sandwich real quick.
That was a great interview. If you missed it, go to the ticketfm.com and check out that podcast because that was great to have him involved. Now moving on to Derek Walker.
He gave a lot of gems too, real quick.
Oh yeah,
he gave a lot of gems. If you're a coach, if you're a player, if you have an aspiring player, girl or boy, no matter what the sport, he gave some gems, So if you do happen to peek this out, go check it out on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, or
especially
on YouTube.
Especially that first answer where, it was just, you got to, if you're focusing on sports or want to be an athlete at that level, the level he's at, that he's been, to stay focused and not let those other things distract you. And, you can definitely tell this guy's a coach.
He dropped some gems.
Get you motivated, get you ready.
Man, listen, if I had eligibility, I was going to Jackson State. I was on my way.
You don't get a COVID year from all those years back, so I think your eligibility's up. But also interesting too that he, made the decision to go pro and was told, this is kind of what you've been talking about with Bryce, is he was told he's a top 15 pick. He believed it. He worked out with 17 teams. If I worked out with 17 teams, I think there'd be some interest in that first round too. And he'd fall to the second round. So we'll kind of have to hopefully that works out better for Bryce. We'll have to see. But, at least he made the most of it and made those teams pay in the end. I always like those redemption stories. He got that little extra.
He said that it can go one way or the other when you're talking about that. You can either go left or go right. He was talking about college.
Oh, yeah.
But the same thing can happen because there's some players that maybe fall in the draft. Maybe some of them, they put a chip on the shoulder, but then there's some others that kind of fall into their little, depressive, states, and they don't come out of that. So, because you've been told all your life, you're the man, you the guy, man, you going, you about to bring us out, baby. You hear all of that, but then at the end of the day, you sitting there with your folk and your name don't get called.
Yeah.
can hurt some folks.
And I mean, you had to fight your way up too to get that status within the organizations, because we've talked about before. There's a big difference between being picked 16th, the way that the organization views you, and a second-round pick. So you got to fight your way up, and he certainly did that throughout his career. Again, eventually becoming an all-star and a champion. So it's great to have him on there. Real quick, I know we've talked about it before, but the Derek Walker news does break. He did announce on Twitter about an hour ago now that he is going to be returning to Nebraska. Do you think that he was the biggest fish out there for Nebraska as far as returning players between him, Trey McGowens, and Lat Mayen? If you had to pick one and only one to come back, would he be right up there? Or do you think that they really need to go and get Trey or Lat still?
I think you need him for at least rebounding and some assurances on, if you get him the ball, you looking at 60+% that ball is going in the bucket.
Oh yeah.
And in his leadership, because he just plays his tail off. He doesn't ask for much. He's not begging. He's just going and playing. He defends. He gets hands on balls. He does a lot of things that you would love to have back, especially with front court depth after losing Andre too. That's now you don't feel like you have to go find somebody maybe in the portal. You can kind of work, maybe find one more guy just to solidify. But with him, Blaze, you got a 3-man row. That's what you want.
But certainly the front court depth aspect of it is huge. I can't wait to see, and I know they've been hesitant to do this because they have that 4-out system. Do they want to play him next to Blaze Keita, because he's talked about it before? He's a big guy. He can deal with those bigs in the Big Ten, but those bigs in the Big Ten are like 7-footers. Some of them are, as we go through it, the Zach Edey's and and he might be back. And we already talked about Kofi Coburn might be back. These guys are big. I'd like to see Derek Walker. I think he's more of a 4, at least in the old school basketball realm. Now with the modern day spread it out, shoot the 3, he might be forced to play the 5. But in the Big Ten, it's not always modern night in and night out. Sometimes it's a throwback. And I think that if he could play the 4 with Blaze Keita at the 5, it's not the recipe that typically the staff has gone to with Hoiberg. But they could bring some bodies in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you've got to go to stat. You got to go definitely. He's got to be able to stretch that floor, though. He's got to get that 15, 18-footer. It's got to be consistent. If he does that with his ability to create and draw and be both hands right, left, and attacking the rim, he's going to become a problem. And then he can pass the ball. So if he gets in, work on his passing, those are aspects that can translate to another level, being able to do that. So whether it be overseas or whatever, I don't care. Those are translatable features that can help a team.
And hopefully we'll see too if he can develop that chemistry, because I think part of what was most impressive about his game this year was that pick and roll with Alonzo Verge at times was just nice between the two of them. Obviously, Verge is outgoing. They're still kind of looking for a point guard there. Maybe they've got the answer in their transfer there, but hopefully and a lot of that is Verge, but a lot, that skill, that talent doesn't go away with Walker, so that could be something that they could go to.
Think about what you're looking at, man. I mean, you're looking at 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", maybe 6'3", 6'4", 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", and then 6'10". Even if you keep Lat, you're still at 6'9", 6 something. You're a very long team. They're a very long team, other than some of the other guys. Even Wilcher's at 6'5". So, you're a pretty long team. That's something that can go well in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and obviously I know this isn't going to get too many people on the complete bandwagon to think that team's going to make a run, but it's a start. I mean, I think it was key. We've talked about it for a long time, and we even talked about it today, the lack of continuity for this team year in and year out. Now this is year 3 for Derek Walker, and we'll see. I mean, maybe he's able to convince. He's got some buddies there in Trey and Lat that he might be able to bring back, and obviously bringing up those young guys. But like you said, there's a few things that he can tweak to his game. You have to think with Bryce out of the equation, he's now the leader. We talked about earlier. Can CJ Wilcher be that building block? Now you've got a senior coming back that's probably going to be a little bit more involved in the offense than he was this year, at least pre-game. So that'll be fascinating. We are actually up against it. We're going to have Sunday morning pancakes play next year on Ticket weeknights, but that'll wrap it up. Once again, thanks to Mo Williams for joining us today, and thank to you guys, the listeners. We'll be back tomorrow on The Block.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business.